Easy, hi. Well, come on in. First indeed. You are first indeed. That happens. It happens. How's the day going? How was the week? Because it is the week. And it is the first drop indeed. And you're apparently gonna miss it. That's a slow miss. Yep, that is what happens. It's a good start. It's a good start. Let me participate, you know, so that we'll see. I'm probably not gonna make it. But yeah, no, we have some good news. Um, we have some good news, kind of. We have some debatable news, but we have some good news. Things happened, which is pretty good. Things happened in the right direction, which is better, and things happened in the wrong direction, which is happening. We know about that, but yeah, I have something to talk about that is really important that I don't understand. And if you have a dev, or if you are a dev, you might be able to explain. My build time, cybersec time, what on it? My build time for also cam, cool. The build time for the app used to be a minute and a half ish for the complexity of some of the files. And what I don't understand is that when I decided to add more complexity, the build time became faster. I really don't know why. Yeah, hi, welcome on in. Um, what do you mean the internet is on fire? I don't know. It depends. Kinda, depending on the subject. But yeah, welcome on in. So I really don't understand why adding complexity made the build time faster than before. So yeah, it's yeah. There is really no wind on this specific landing pad. I'm gonna say that like that we have no variations of things in the slightest. So it happens. I'm sorry. However, however, we have some good news. Um, kinda. Let me just yeah. Uh, I can't really show you from there. Let me just you know. uh, boop. That's gonna be easier so that I can just show you directly the pictures themselves. Otherwise, it doesn't really make any sense. I mean, for this one, because this one is weird to or complicated to output. That's what it is. That's the ID. These are two stickers, but I don't. I yeah, there is something that I don't like about it. Um, and yeah, he's known for stickers and good rendering overall, but he used to, and at the time, um, like that's it's interesting, but what I have an issue with is that most of his shadows are way too saturated, way too black, and that's racist. Um, and that's just uh, because that's the fun thing. It's stickers, so it's basically just as if you put it down and then with time you just put it back on and it folded and then you know. Yeah. But yeah, I'm really not the biggest fan of the darkness of the shadow itself, and it didn't really fade as I expected it to fade. I don't want to get in with like lighter ink on top to like lighten the shadow itself, but I feel like it could be uh, a benefit at some point. Most of the latest one that he's done have been really dark and shadow as well. So yeah, that's the I. But also, this is the type of shit that I would draw myself, so it makes sense. I just can't. I don't have the skills. But yeah, he's been doing this, and then there has been like another person that is doing something really like similar, but instead of doing stickers, as in paper stickers and like vinyl stickers, they are doing patches, as in uh, embroidered patches, which is really impressive as well. Cat, hi, work on it. Um, they are really good. I'm not
Patek
gonna.
Soho just resubscribed for 37 months. Damn.
Damn, 37 is a lot. Yes, welcome back. Thanks a lot for the resub. I appreciate it. Goddamn, 37. Holy shit. That's a lot. So yeah, it's been really good. Overall, the thing that I have a bit of a harder time with, and this one specifically is really, really good. Ah, that died. What happened? Wow, I almost died. Um, this one looks really good, and the torn paper looks pretty good as well because of the blood. I know. It brings texture, and I wish we had things like further down the line healing, so that we could see on his page like how people have healed and so on. But yeah, they are really good. So that's this one that you kind of talked about in a way, not directly, but kind of. If I go back here, because that's the others, the my first ever, this is going to take a while, my first ever tattoo from 2019, no, 2014, 14 or 13, I forgot. It's been years now. Um, it's going to be, I mean, this one, but not this one. Initial is this right here, kind of like that's the first one, and second one. What these are older, older tattoos. Yeah, that's the first, and that one 2014. I was right. I was right. Um, since then, there's been a lot more and a lot more fat overall. But like this spiderweb, this bird, which is really good, and these 2018. Teeny tiny snakes. There are more thing that I don't have pictures of. But yeah, that most of them kind of. The latest one, I don't think I have shared a picture of them on Instagram. Yeah, no, I didn't. I didn't. Um, the latest are mostly flowers. For the people that know me, that makes sense. For the people that don't, that doesn't make any sense. But let me find them for a second. It is right about. It's supposed to be right about here. Why not here? There. Also, it doesn't. I mean, that picture doesn't look as good as it should, to be honest. Because I just snapped that for no reason. But yeah, that's the latest one. These are really good. They look pretty nice. It's just the output when you're looking at them from there. It's just I don't like it. So, you know, details. Anyways, that's the tattoos. That is the tattoos. I wanted to share the updates though. That's the thing. That is the thing. And then I turn to slideshow again for a second. So, there. We have some news. We have some good news when it comes to the app. I made good progress when it comes to the recommendation system, and I'm going to show you that in a second. And I'm going to zoom in more details a bit later. But for now, we have something that is a bit better when it comes to the loading of the data. Why are you dying? 1 second. That is killing me. So we are going to change options and hope for the best. I'm guessing this is just like situational thing where the Pro 3 are coming in, and therefore that's these are dying. Anyways, so this is better. It used to have queries on the 2-day view, which is right here on the collection view and on the discovery view for the database itself of the perfume of the user. On everyone, basically, when you started the app for the first time, it just loaded nothing to have like faster loading time. And then on each page, it had to load the entirety of the collection without really knowing why. And so now what I did is I centralized everything into the initializer file thingy so that we have everything at once and everything runs. And so when I'm switching from page A to page B, I don't have a flash of nothing. So that's the base. That is the base. It's working. I'm happy with it. But the thing that I've worked on the past 2 days is this. I changed the chart to be in first. So basically, when you enter this page of discovery, you have the information related to the discovery of your collection and your notes and the thing that you have. So what I have is, as I said last Wednesday, on Wednesday, the split is top, middle, and base node split for all of these radar charts, which makes sense. And then underneath that, you have a bit more information about the journey on how you reached that level of complexity for your fragrance profile thing. So for me, for example, I have 40 perfumes in my collection, and I added these 40 perfumes throughout the last 4 days. That's not true. Um, that's because I reset it in my app. But nonetheless, we have like the 40 perfume thing, which is pretty important, and also the notes that are the most signature scent that I have. So I know that I have like more woody things, floral, and spicy perfumes in general in my collection. But that's something that is going to be pretty useful for most people. The second thing is the layering, which is just gonna bring the user a bit of information about how they could layer with existing perfume they have in their collection. Underneath that, there is like a bit of a layering tips because I think I'm right. Someone that is new that doesn't know how layering work might be doing the wrong thing of doing like putting the same no two different perfumes at the same time or in the same spot rather than just using them in different location at different intervals and so on. So having some tips is pretty useful. And then lastly, which is to me the most important thing, is the discovery section, which is gonna tell me exactly what I need to know about. Like the first one, for example, the blue thing, is I'm currently missing this section of the olfactory family in perfumes, so I don't have anything that is marine, so aquatic and other fresh subtle perfume. So that's a point of improvement that I can have. And then I also have the smart purchases tips at the bottom to just imply to anyone that is into perfume, don't blind buy anything. Like don't just go and buy something for not no reason, but like without really paying attention to what it is. So I added that at the bottom, but the most important is the top section where I can go into the database and say, you know what, maybe I'm looking for this one, and that's the perfume that I'm currently looking at in store or I'm eyeing in a platform or something, and now it's giving me something like this that is just, this is interesting to test. You have like an 80% overlap with your notes in your collection. So that's going to be something that has a center that is similar than what you already have. So that's why not. It's not really redundant with the others. So the notes are similar, but the profile overall is different. So that could be interesting. Maybe you go with something that is a bit different. Let's use this one, for example, and it's like you don't have anything like this in your collection, so we're gonna recommend you buy this. Um, I mean, you test it out and then you buy it if you like it. But yeah, that's I think for now that's the good thing. I'm also looking at stuff that are looking or helping you get some information, as in right here, for example, if you find a perfume that is interesting, that has some overlap with what you have in your collection, but not too much, I'm giving you a preview of what you already have. So in my collection right now, I have Rehab and Teroni, which are kind of similar to Dirty Vanilla from Heretic, that I don't have. So maybe, you know, it is more important or more interesting to me to just revisit these two ones that I have, and then when I decide that I like them more or I don't like them that much, I can just check this one out, maybe buy it. So that's most of the things. Um, it took a while, but that's working. There's a lot of text still that I need to reduce. But yeah. To answer your question though, Mizzy, yes, I do like photography, and then I don't know about photography, which is different. Uh, I like photography. I like taking pictures, but I don't know, and I don't care. What I care about is the picture in the end good. That's it. Welcome back. You missed the entire explanation of this section and me dying. Um, so yeah, that's I think that's pretty good overall as a feature. It seems like something that I would use often potentially to decide if it matches my collection, matches my profile, and just makes sure that I'm not buying something just for the hype of it. Um, that's good. The only thing that is not as good is the fact that technically speaking, the database itself is limited, so I don't have the ability to just check against a new entry. Like if, let's say, oh, you are a very, very deep in a niche perfumery thing, and you like them so much, and they just announced something and we have enthusiasts have received the list of the notes, the definition, the description, the things, the whatever. It wouldn't be here, so I wouldn't be able to give you that kind of, how can I say that, interest thing. Um, but yeah, that's a debate. I don't know yet. It goes back to what I've said 3 weeks ago, which is basically I'm debating having a section in the collection that would be my wish list, something that is not necessarily visible or that would be somewhere else, a specific folder that would be wish list related, and that would allow me or you as the user to just enter a perfume and then add that to your wish list. So that basically what it does in my on my end is that it adds it to the database. So I have the information. I can verify the information. And then if the information is good, I can then push that fragrance that potentially isn't yet in the database to the rest of the population, and that could be good, but I don't know. It's the wish list is kind of different and complicated because it would kind of imply that I have access to pretty good data about coming in? No, upcoming perfumes and fragrances that are coming in, that are getting made right now. So I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, that's the thing. Um, and what else? What I had in my head? I made some teeny tiny changes here to show you the exact current version of how the store is looking. It's not that good, but it works. It's gonna be fine. That button is not fine. That needs to be updated for sure very soon. But for now, I'm gonna wait a bit for the colors and the things. We'll see. I mean, Cat, you are tiny, so you know. I'm guessing the 19-year-old was taller than you, and therefore, eh, eh, not phased. So yeah, um, that is the situation right now, which I think is pretty good. There are still things that I really have a hard time with, and there are stuff like the top section right here is the the bar of progress for the 12 fragrances that you are supposed to be able to have in um brain in free tier. God damn. And right now it's just a simple progress bar. And I think it would make more sense if we had like bottles of perfumes, like 12 bottles of perfumes with potentially different shapes used here rather than just, you know, something like this. And the best idea for me would be to get a combination of empty bottle. Let me see if I can go there because that would make sense. Let's say we are going into not here. I'm looking at me. Um, for fuck's sake. In the fucking yeah, dang. So maybe I have something like this, right? That is like an empty state. And so the goal would be to have these 12 bottles as empty states not defined. And then once the user adds something to their collection and just says, oh, I have this one, for example, since we are extracting the bottle, we would replace that placeholder icon thing with the exact bottle that the user has so that they know what counts. And as always, the idea for me is to get something that looks like I'm going to do that really, really bad. But, you know, something that would be maybe like this. And so you have your whole bottles with the stickers as the sticker effect is. And content is going to be black for now, but like you would have like most of your perfume in a non-straight way as always. So we'll see. We will see. That's the icon we made earlier today for the premium section. It was kind of annoying to build, to be honest, to get the reflection right. It's still not right, but for now, I'm going to be okay with it. I am going to be okay with it. So yeah. You see how I'm using Figma. That's the That was the idea. I did that for this, and then turned out that because beverage, synthetic, gourmand, and animalic are basically the longest words in this whole category things in this whole fragrance family section, they are all in the same spot, and therefore they don't work together. They touch each other, not in a good way. So had to revert. Had to revert. But yeah, right now we are on this thing, which is giving us, you zoom in a bit, this not the space, but like the overall output for these, so that we have like you need to test because everything's orange. Maybe this is something that match something that you already have. It's way too close, and or maybe you already have that, or maybe you used to have that. So right now I'm working on making sure anything, everything in that view makes sense. What pisses me off is the text. There's way too much text. I need to like harden all of this because goddamn, like this is okay, but this is too much, and it's just one more line. But damn, that's way too much. Like 5 lines. Again, this is like an iPhone 16 Pro, meaning that this is the widest phone existing. If you have like a 13 mini, this is going to be 6 lines of text for sure. So, not viable. Not viable at all. But yeah. I discovered this icon though, and it's cute. It's a very cute icon. I don't think this is the best option for overlap. I feel like we could go with um, the god damn, the brain today. It's not charts, kinda. The one they use for liquid glass base things. So um, it's not going to be layering, but we could have the layering one that could work as a base. Why is that happening right now? That's so wild. So yeah, that's progress. That's where we are right now. I need to work on the design of this because this is absolutely bad, and it's gonna be fine. Most of the issues are mainly the corner radius, like that needs to be 24. Yeah. As always, it is Friday. It's a review day. So if you have anything for me, feel free to just ask, send the link in chat and so on. But can take a look. But if you don't have anything, I might just tackle that. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I want to know, like in the similar section, I want to know what that is because that makes no sense to me. Yeah, that's the similarity score. So this might be better to have as a 80% similarity or similar. So that it, in your head when you're reading it, you're like, oh yeah, I get that. Otherwise, it's just like kind of not necessarily the good thing. And then it's probably gonna need to be at 8 and not 12 for the spacing. Which is not this one, I see. Mm, that's the issue. That vertical padding is not necessary. I guess it would be necessary when we have more than one. Eh. Oh, that's a conditional that I can't know or don't know how to do on my own. Holy shit. The medicine just kicked in. That's why I'm flustered, I would say, right now. That makes no sense. um, I feel slow, which is crazy. Let's check the breakdown section. I think that analysis metric here makes no sense. Uh, I'm not fighting the meds, but like, it's weird. It's weird. No bodies. All right. Um, yeah, but no, caption is too small. Yeah, a tad small. The thing is, caption 2 is higher. Also, cross keys high. What on what is my options here? I don't want. Yeah, footnote is fine. I'm not planning on. I mean, I wasn't planning on doing that. It's just that it's in front of my face, and you know, that's the thing. Cool shit. I found we don't have much, to be honest. Um, we do, but we don't have much. There's been like some things. There has been some things that are like pattern for sure, and there has been some things that are non-pattern. But yeah, since the Apple event, everyone is doing the same thing, and that pisses me off. So we stopped here on, I think, on Wednesday. Ilya has done some really cute icons. These are not the regular icon things, right? Um, that I would have. It depends. I don't really know where they are used. That's the thing. That is the debatable point. If they are used like this, not the greatest. If they were used in a different way, that might be a bit better. Of an output, I'm gonna delayer myself. That's what's happened. I'm peeling up. God damn. Can I aim? No. That's a good aim. Good aim. So that was cute. If you look at the icons themselves a bit closely, a bit closer, a bit more closely, in a closer way, every one of them has some sort of a teeny tiny amount of gradient that goes from light to dark, except the money, which is the opposite because it's concave and not convex. So that's a very interesting thing. Just, noticing details is always good. So that was a cute rendering from Ilya for once. This one was really nice. It's a cat, so obviously we like it. And they took like a lot of reference. And I like when they do this, where or when someone is doing this, they show you the reference itself of what they had. I don't know, these are AI generated. It looks like it because they look the exact same direction or just reference pictures. I don't know. But yeah, they used that and then created the illustration, which I think is pretty nice. I don't think this is a good way of building, but at the end of the day, it works. So, yeah. Holy shit. We've had that. We talked about that for Techie 2 weeks ago, specifically. But I feel like this micro interaction, this is mostly for Khalil, I guess. This micro interaction right here of how things are moving and how things are giving you better feedback when you have a strong enough pathword is pretty cute. It's a very nice addition, very small transition, and it just helps. I do feel like the zoom in of the view is too much and shouldn't happen, but it makes the effect at the end of that video a bit better, so I get it, but still cute. Sorry for the flashes. This is a pattern E thing. I have seen that more than once. And this is really what AI allows some people to do, because creating rendering of the same logo in different environment and fake environment and so on is way faster, easier to achieve. So it's interesting. We've seen that roughly last year through some of, who was it? Um, I think that was Brett. I think Brett did that in ChatGPT last year or 2 years ago and was kind of uploaded. Uploaded? Yeah, received applause by other designers. But it's a very interesting concept. It's very simple. Most of these, when you're looking at them, are kind of shit, right? But because the central part is the same every single time, you get that potential ID of consistency. But like, that's nothing. That's fine. That's weird. This one is not a thing. Nonetheless, interesting output and cool concept that we like. So that happened. Um, we had this thing from Tatsuya. Tatsuya is doing like a lot of really good 3D rendering. He's been doing that. I mean, this is the bot that is posting like once a day, and it's just good. It's simple, looping animation in 3D, and most of them are really good. And this one is a bit of a laser scan. So, yeah. Um, Wait, maybe. Yeah, we talked about that last time. We talked about it on stream on Wednesday, on Monday. Um, but it is really good. I do agree. I do agree. A lot of people have been complaining about it, as always. But um, a lot of people have been also attempting to achieve that. One person has achieved it in Three.js with not as much texture and granularity in the jelly. But yeah, one person did it in Rive as well. Um, so it's a good idea. It's just complex. I don't know why that disappeared, but that disappeared. Um, yeah, there was like a lot more uh, replies compared to this, but yeah. Oh, it's just a close simulation. That makes sense. So yeah, similar 3D stuff. Uh, we had this, which I like a lot. Obviously, badges and stickers are really good. So we do like when that happened. This one is an app called All Trails that we have talked about before. It's not necessarily something that I would ever touch because it's hiking trail related app, and that will never happen. Uh, so you know, I would just show you what they have done and not necessarily use it ever. This would happen, which is interesting. So I don't really understand what happened on this one. What Hyde Hide, I don't know how to pronounce the name, has done, and what this is for real. Like, um, I don't. It doesn't from the pictures. It doesn't look like something that is going to be a player, and mostly something that is going to be related to the music, but not necessarily playing the music itself. So I really have no fucking clue, and I didn't really investigate more than that on what that does and so on. But they have released, which is interesting, and yeah, that's all I can say. It's still a very good looking app and a very nice looking design for what they have done. Most of it is really simple and really Apple related, but yeah, that's the that's what I'm seeing. Uh, yeah, the website is good. That's the thing. Oh yeah, that's probably the issue. Um, but yeah, that's a interesting design. That's all I'm gonna say. It's really nice. I'm even gonna follow them. This is on my timeline all day, every day. That pissed me off. I, I, I get it, right? I understand. But then again, it's false, and that's sad. So, from my point of view, right, from the external point of view, oh, fuck's sake, why is that not? I clicked the wrong thing. That's the reason. That's on me. If I take what people are saying, right, I'm just making the camera. I'm going to try to center it inside of the lens because that's going to be the easiest thing to do from my point of view. Um, right. So that's their take. Initial take. They say that this right here with red outline is United 2. Um, from an extension point of view, right? You reach the edges not at the same time, which is kind of the truth, right? You're supposed to be around here. And then that, if I just align it properly, what is said is that roughly that doesn't match, right? Which makes sense. And the fact that we have the light shining on the edge or on the corner specifically, you end up with something that looks as if it's even more accentuated. If you get rid of all of these and you just look kind of here without really paying attention, um, nothing really stand out. Like it's if that section right here wasn't that bright, I feel like if it was nope, not that. God damn it. If we had something like this, it wouldn't stand out as much as it does right this instant to most of the designers on Twitter. And, you know, that's that's what's probably gonna happen. It's still there. Like there is still a bit of a misalignment, misconcentricity for sure. But, you know, eh, eh. A lot of talk for nothing. So that happened. Um, this this pissed me off for many reasons. The thing that pissed me off on this one is that the person that is creating this app is, and we talked about it before, they are not building, but they have something that seems to be the most interesting concept that we as designer all want to see. This is their launch screen potential, right? And so their goal with this concept app thing is iOS app icon through the years so that you can see what evolution happened during what time, and so on. Like you had this thing, which is really, really cool. The presentation, I don't know if you have the presentation on the previous one. Obviously, I'm looking for it. It's not going to be the easiest to find, but yeah. They've been working on this entire thing for I don't know how long. I've been looking at this app for I don't it feels like months now. And every time someone is asking, is this a real app? They say no. It's a concept. And it basically will never come out. And it's just Figma based. And it's so sad. I'm so sad. I feel like any designer would be really, really interested in having an app to browse the icon evolution through the years and make sure that you can see where things are coming from, where things have been uh, evolving specifically at what years and so on. But every time they are showcasing things that are like Figma based again, and it's just fake. It's so sad. It's so sad. Anyways, that's the reason that I'm pissed. Other than that, we good. Going back to the other things of dithering being like everywhere, Arc popped in, Arc Studio popped in as dithering background. So another drop in everyone is doing the same thing. Other people are saying that the beta 4 and beta 9, the latest beta, have a lot of differences in liquid glass. And most of the people are saying that basically the more we think about it, even though we were like dogpiling on the first betas, the liquid glass was kind of better in the first place, and now it's kind of weird, but we'll see. We'll see how it evolves. I had no choice. This needed to happen. This needed to be on the screen at some point. That cat got scared. As someone said, 8 lives lost in 1 second. Anyways, moving on. So I've been seeing like a lot of things as well. Missy, going back to your website and your gallery thing, I kind of saved this one for you, for the books, because it makes sense. It is way more complex than what you have and would require you to have plenty of information that you might not have for your reading / article / section, but it's a nice looking view. That's the only truth that I can give you on this one. If you want to check it out as inspiration to build things on your website, this is an option. I saved this one mainly for this because this is the pattern of 2024 and just in purple compared to what we're used to. So that's an interesting thing. Overall, the rest of the things are really common current trends, and specifically this one. But like that's beginning of 2025, and that's all the time. Anyway, the only difference is that these buttons are carved in and not popping out. So that's weird in user brain understanding and thing. So yeah, that's that's interesting. I've seen this, which is interesting. For some reasons, that looks really much like a remote, and it feels like it's probably a remote of some sort. But that design pattern is not something that is common. And the more you zoom on it, the more you see some of the details that makes it weirder than expected. So instead of having like a circle in the center, it seems the center part, which is white, has basically a bigger circle, and then the darker section have an outline or duplicated version, because when you look at the corner radius right here, it's not the same, but an outline that basically is creating a bit of a spiky center button, and I don't really know why that happened and why they decided to go with this, but it's an interesting thing to check. By looking at the inconsistencies in between the spacings, it almost feels like this could be an AI generated element, based on the fact that it's consistent-ish. The distance in between the white section and dark section here on both sides are smaller than the other three for dark on dark. So that's something. But then the fact that the edges here, the corner radius there, are not the same on all 5 elements. I don't know. I don't know where I stand on this, but it's an interesting pattern. And there is like other little things. It's visible here as well, but there is other brush mask, I guess, behind the illustrations that gives you something that is different than what you are expecting. So that's the pattern. We talked about it last week and this week as well, with the increasing amount of organic shapes regarding the creation of UI to make sure that it doesn't look like it is AI generated. And so right now, I feel like these things specifically are additions, um, especially made for that purpose. Make sure that you know that this is not AI generated. So that's you know that's interesting. That's about it. um, this one was really cool. This is a Japanese person doing something with the Apple Watch app environment thing. And basically, this is just a CSS and JS, and it seems to be pretty good. So, if you are interested in building shit like this, you know, uh, maybe check it out. Maybe check it out. We never know. We never know. That was a joke for dev, from dev to devs, and I got it, so I liked it. That's it. That's all that happens. That is all that happens. Not much more, to be honest. On that day specifically, there hasn't been a lot of really cool outputs. That person got a point that was absolutely wrong, but also really potential. Um, saying that Apple has been spending $100 billion in research and development for the past 5 years, and everything that they have done is basically just the same and changing the color a bit. And what happens is, and that person is pretty right, in the past 6 years, uh, they have created like a very good CPU, a very good GPU, a very good modem like chip as well. And all of that has been like under the hood, so that they don't focus on the outside, they focus on the inside. And people don't realize that most of the time, but it's the same thing for everyone. Like if you compared the design of the AMD and Intel CPUs, they look the same year after year, except like the latest AMD chips that are just weird for no reason. Uh, you wouldn't say the same thing. So that's interesting. That is interesting. This take is the truest of take. So this is something that I wanted to talk about because I didn't know when that popped in during the event, and now I kind of do. So the iPhone Air 17 Air that just popped out is now basically the entirety of the phone is held inside of the camera bump. The rest is the battery. There is no real chip or PCB or anything underneath. Mildred, hi, welcome in. Welcome back. How are you? How is everything? So that's a very interesting thing. It's wild, first of all, that the entire phone that is on paper performing similarly to the 17 Pro is basically this big. And so what that person is saying is that if they are currently able to squeeze that much computational power into just this section, there is so much that can be removed from there to slim it down to then get Apple AR glasses. And that is probably what's going to happen. So, yeah, Stony, hi, welcome. I mean, apparently based on everyone, we don't care about the bugs, and um, the the thing that I've been saying, I'm gonna every year, every year when there is like a bit of a rumor or something, it just come back here. Um, I think this was the iPhone 10 concept or the iPhone 8 concept. I forgot. And I've talked about it before, and I probably shared it on Discord as well. Um, how is the not recommended? Uh, 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 sorry. So this is the iPhone 11, apparently, concept from Philip that we have talked about many times. This is the best render that I've seen of a potential thing. And if they went with this at the time, or now, it would have changed the game entirely because this thing is flat on the table. It has a bit of a lift, like it has a bit of an angle, so it's easier to pick up from the table itself. But it is really good. And that thickness right here was very similar to, um, well, the iPhone 6, technically the iPhone XR-ish, so they are kind of thick, but not that thick either. So that is what we wanted, or at least that's what I wanted. Um, and if you want your phone to be flat on the table, you want the Red Magic, uh, the Red Magic, yeah, 10 Pro. This is the ugliest phone in a lot of aspects. It's also one of the most interesting ones. It is flat. It's the flattest thing. And yeah, like it's flat. Flat. I do like it though. It's a very good phone. It's just not accessible for most people. But the output that we have is just like one of the slab. And it's not like the camera or just a cat out and no, it's flat. It's a piece of glass. And it's one piece of glass. And that's it. I don't like this though. That's the thing that I hate, and that's the reason why I don't have it. Basically, there is a mini fan to cool it down while you're gaming because it's a gaming phone. And for the people that have been um, tism much, or the people that can hear electrical currents from outlet and things, this fan is turning on every time your phone is plugged in. So when you are charging, you have this teeny tiny buzzing sound coming out of this section right there. And that's no good. So I decided not to do that because technically it is really cheap when you think about it for like, for the quality in the things. Yeah, it's it's really bad. But like $600 for what it is and the amount of power you get from that thing is crazy. So yeah, I like it a lot. I like it a lot, and right now, because it's the new year season things, it means that the Red Magic 11 Pro is going to come out, I guess, soon, based on the fact that most companies are currently going into thinner phones. I'm expecting these ones to become a tad thinner without compromising the fact that they are flat. And yeah, going back to like shit like this, even though, they still have the camera bumps. I feel like if you just get rid of that, that's fine enough. What I have seen and what we have seen on the S25, I think. I forget. It doesn't matter. Uh, I think it's the S25. The rings around the lenses, around the cameras are flat, but they are kind of removable if you just pop them up with a razor blade. And so underneath there is the unprotected sensor, and you could just have that as a camera. It's not that good, but it could. It could. But yeah, no, these phones have been really good, and they have done uh, like a lot of good choices, a lot of flat choices, and we like flat phones. So yeah. Anyways, so going back to this thing, yes, I agree. Based on the fact that they have condensed so much of the tech in such a small area of the phone, with again on paper, based on what they're saying, and we don't know if that's true, as always. This is one of their flagship phones, giving us the same experience as the regular phones, but in a thinner body and with the bigger chip as well. So if they make like AR glasses, the tech is going to be extremely compact, and that implies as well, going back to the discussion we had on Monday and on Wednesday, I think, the Apple Vision Pro is going to take that tech inside and make sure that the, the headset slash glasses can be as minimal and lightweight as possible. Even though they wanted, like the first version, they wanted to have something that feels premium, that is like metal and glass and so on. I don't see why they wouldn't just trim down the electronics, change the materials here and there, and use some military grade carbon fiber shit to, have something that is lighter. And then, yeah, use that. So that is the only thing I wanted to talk about on this one. Um, I've seen that earlier today, and this teeny tiny micro interaction is really good, but there is something that is not good from my point of view. It looks like the person that has created this thing has discovered overshoot in belts or rubber band transition, and they have discovered that like yesterday, and so they have put that transition on everything they can whenever they can. And the fact that they have this overshoot thing on such a teeny tiny transition makes me feel like this is going to be, if that's a project, that's not a project for now, but like if that was a project, it would probably be everywhere, all the time, always, for no reason. So yeah, to be checked. To be checked. Um, I laughed at this one just because interfaces. But yeah, most of the apps today are this, and it makes sense. Um, like that is the current thing. As I said in 2015, I know it's been a while. As I said in 2015, 2016, I was hoping for voice assistant to take over instead of having text-based assistant and text-based content to be happening. And I was rooting for Alexa and Google Homes and so on. And it didn't. It didn't take off. And apparently text is much more appreciated by the users, and therefore we have this. But I still feel like this is going to be converted into text-based interfaces soon-ish, based on the fact that most of the major, I would say, major chat apps, AI-related, they have now voice-based interactions where you can just exchange from a chat point of view with your voice, and it replies with their voice. That's a good thing. So, yeah, hoping, not sure it will happen. That is a very interesting thing. It is a mix of the dithering effect that we've been talking about for the past 2 weeks, but also it is the CRT effect plus chromatic aberration in the other way around. Chromatic aberration first and then the CRT effect afterward. And then there is like the turbulence on cursor that happens. But this is a very interesting new effect. It's not new, but it's kind of new. We haven't seen that in the feed for a long time. So I'm expecting, since this one is seen but not too seen for now, I'm expecting this to kind of take over and some people to recreate it soon in their project content IDs things. This is a 6-hour tweet, so we have time. We have time. This is mostly for techie, but you know, it happens. But not here. That style is also something that is extremely used, no. Liked, yes. And could work for Kyoto based on the physicality of some of the buttons. There are some very, very small details, as in this profile picture is kind of glassy-ish, not too much, but kind of. And then they have done like other glass-ish, not glass transitions here and there with some light refracting at the bottom and at the top at the same time. So that's a very interesting thing. But you know, like just keeping that in mind, it's a nice design. It's a nice design, and that's a bit of a pattern-ish. I have like one of my project that I saved from last year, I think, that uses something very similar. So yeah. And then we talked about this person, and I think these icons 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. But yeah, these are a mix of flat and glasses and glass, but not liquid glass, just glass, frosted glass. So yeah, these are pretty cute stuff. The only mistake that I wanted to point out, not really, but like mention, is this. If you lift up the corner of a rounded page, it's not going to be square. That is never going to happen. If all of your corners are rounded and you lift one up, it doesn't magically become a square. That will never happen. If it does, you got a weird book. But that's about it. Most of the rest is really, really good. And yeah, they've done like a very good job on this one. But that's about it on this thing. I have some things on here, but I mean, as always, there's a lot more titties than anything else, so it's kind of hard to just, you know, show you. um, we have seen like that specific thing that I talked about for the past 15 minutes, where the entire phone is basically right here, and that's just the battery. So that shot is better. You can really understand how much tiny it is, and the fact that this is taking into consideration the fact that the camera is such a big camera for what it is. The front-facing camera is here, so in order to reduce the weight more for like glasses, you would just have the front-facing cameras, and that doesn't need to exist. So you can remove all of that, meaning that this whole thing is 100% fitting into glasses with no issues. So for later, for later, um, we've had this one was mostly for me and not necessarily for you, but like it works as well. So this is a notes app, and what I kind of like about this, I know that this is like the shot for the sake of the shot itself, but you know it's a good shot. The phone and the notes are in the exact same angle, and the pen is matching the other ones, and so on. It's just subconsciously giving me a hint, maybe? I don't know. Maybe? It seems there. Anyways, the presentation though inside of the app is pretty simple and interesting. The thing that they want to do is have the ability to just extract text or handwritten text, um, and then do that through, you know, having the notes taken directly. So that's an interesting concept. We've had that for a long time, and the only idea or the only reason why I'm talking about it is because this specific type of paper and the way that it's stacked on top of each other is kind of the thing that I had in mind for the perfume app, to have your timelines based on the dates. So that instead of having one big ass timeline, if you have like many entries across multiple days, you would have stacked of things. But I don't know. Uh, I don't know. We'll see. We will see. More titties, as always. If you haven't seen, or if you are not aware, which you probably are not aware, just for the sake of, yeah, I mean, you're not into Tokyo related content. It's raining in Tokyo right now. It's and not a smidge. It's it's raining a bit more than we expected, and everyone is just filming and showing how much rain happened. Um, the thing is, this is I think this one is close to one of the place that I lived at, and that's kind of crazy because I and my little brain have always had the weirdest reaction to flood, because flood makes no sense to me. Has never made sense to me. It, there is more water coming in. I get it. It needs to go somewhere. I get it. But most of the time it goes in that direction, and I don't understand where and how it stops going in that direction. So that's the that's the thing. Like, that makes sense to me, right? You have a river, and said river uh, because it's a fucking canal. It grows in size because it's raining. That makes sense to me. And it goes in the same direction, but then it goes somewhere in the sea, somewhere in the lake, somewhere else. I don't know. And I don't understand why it's not, you know, still going. So yeah, I don't know. Anyways, it's raining in Japan. That's what I'm saying, and not halfway through raining. uh, that's a detail. That's a thing. We've had this thing, but this thing was bad. This one was a very good not announcement, but important thing to think, important thing to think about when you're building a logo or an icon or something. The visual weight, we talked about that for icons specifically, but also like for shapes and yeah, visual hierarchy in terms of design. This is something to think about when you have something that is 100 and 100. It is mathematically good, but this one, based on the fact that it doesn't have that white space in the center and on the other side, feels like it is physically bigger, which is the case in terms of area of taken area. It feels like it's bigger. And so by making it 92, 8 point less, you reach something that basically weight wise or visual weight wise looks as if they were the exact same width, which is not the case. So that's really interesting. That's really important. And if you are building a logo, building an icon set, building something, I mean, if you're building an icon set, don't, maybe, I don't know, um, use something else.
Ma!
I don't know, maybe. Uh, but yeah, that's something to think about when you're building stuff. It happened. It happened. Um, Let me zoom out a tad. These ones are extremely funny to me, and I I just like that so much. It's not the first one I'm seeing, and it's probably not gonna be the last. But it's just it works. That's it. There's been others. Um, but yeah, everything is just like my feed is mostly Japan related stuff, obviously. Um, and yeah, this is something that we've never talked about, and that's really sad because it's really good. That person has been creating an holographic display through or with moving parts, basically. And what they did is they have like a piston shaped things that move at a very specific pace, and the LEDs on the display are lit at the right time to render um, the right thing. And they've been showcasing this, not necessarily here. I forgot if they have like credits or something because this thing has existed for a long time. But yeah, it's a very interesting concept. It is a noisy display, yes, for sure. There is no question about it. But there is a cat in the background, so obviously you have to like it. Um, but it's interesting. Obviously, they have music that is not matching. Yeah. But yeah, it's a very interesting thing. I do like it. This one, which I shouldn't have pixelated the view. This one is really good, and this is an old-ish things based on the fact that we have a spectacle thing. Basically, what happens is that person has created an environment in their Oculus Quest slash VR AR headset, where they could have hand gestures to decide portion of the view to then automatically translate and analyze through recognition and so on. So that's a very interesting thing that I'm guessing pretty useful in the long term in terms of content and context. And obviously they're doing that in Japan. So I'm seeing it, but it's translating pretty fast. I don't know when that was, but yeah, for a concept, having the ability to just, you know, highlight something, see the name of the thing, see the prices, see the times, understand the content of the posters and so on is pretty impressive. But that's about it. That is about it. There's been some titties, yes. There's been things in terms of animation and transitions and things, again, right about, where is it? They shared it like it it seems yesterday, but that apparently wasn't yesterday. Basically, they have an app that is analyzing your camera roll and pulling pictures and things. Yeah, and I think that could be interesting for you when that happens. If that happens, I don't know. And so the animation is just having Polaroid film things coming in. It's limited to a certain amount. When you look closely, the ones in the background, when you fucking stop moving all the time, are disappearing. Like this one just disappeared, and so on. But it's a very interesting concept. I feel like it brings some fun to the loading states. However, what I don't like about it, because obviously I can't, uh, and I kind of talked about that before. Something that is wild to me. This is gonna break. God damn it! Can you fucking stop being a dumbass? So, in that view, if I were to turn on this, um, if I have an import of, perfume collection or something, and let's say I'm getting, I don't know, let's use the Japanese one because that's one of the complicated one. I'm done. I've parsed and analyzed your CSV like that. There is 42 fields in just the CSV that you had, and it just worked. There is no wait time that I need to account for, and it was the case in the beginning. In my head, I was thinking, oh, I could have like a very cool loading state, kind of like this, not exactly this, but like basically scanning your CSV and then analyzing things and pulling out a name out of random, and saying, oh, you have this thing from that niche perfumery that I like as well. Interesting, good call, good call. It's neat, like fake engagement and so on. But it turns out I'm too fast. I know.
Kanamash's just resubscribed for 36 months. AAOA thinking, AAOA thinking, AAOA thinking.
Kane, welcome on in. Welcome back. Thanks for the 30s. I'm guessing you have a resub tomorrow, based on the fact that Cat has had 37 today, and you are kind of the same. So yeah, you probably have your resub soon. Welcome back. How are you? How's everything? um, so yeah, that thing, that the speed again, like it's just This one is taking way longer than expected. This one could potentially have something, but goddamn. Usually it goes really, really fast, and probably because I'm on mirror, it's also not really good. But that's for later, I guess. I guess. What do you mean? Hype train.
Tickly Monster just subscribed.
Tickly. Welcome on it. Thanks so much for the sub. I appreciate it. And yes, minus 95 out of 100 sub is pretty cool. It is pretty cool. How are you? How's the day going? Thanks so much for the resub or the sub. It's a short thing. It's fine. It happens. Same game as well. Same. I am dying. Other than that, we good. Other than that, we good. So yeah, you're kind of right that the like the loading state is transition state for most of the things, but yeah, I think the reason why, you know what, I'm gonna go there. Gonna be easier for me to just do that. So the current state of things in the CSV analysis that I have is basically this. You have your table. That's a table. And we have the headers, and then anything else that is underneath is going to be like the sales and the content for each of the perfume that is in the collection of the user. In total, there could be like 50-ish headers. I mean, we have 60-ish in the app, but some of them are not necessarily good. So yeah. What do you mean level 1? What the fuck happened? God damn it. Don't do that. And so what I'm doing right now, I think, is I'm parsing the data per column to check if I can assign it to an existing field, so that I'm not necessarily looking at that title. Like this thing could be called title, as far as I know. Like it doesn't really matter. And this thing could be called plop, which right now is not necessarily going to be good, but you know, it's an option. What I'm really looking for on this is going to be the data that is inside of each of these things, because that's where I have the information. And so I'm going to analyze cell 1, cell 2, and then cell 3 per column to make sure that what I have and what I understand can be mapped to something. The goal is to do a certainty check. No, that's not the word. Yeah, that's the word, but you don't know it. It's so easy though. And right now I'm not doing a table at all. So, but table in Figma is so easy. I can show you if you need some help. A confidence check. Right, chicken. Hi, welcome back. I will answer that question. It's pretty good. So I'm doing like a confidence check based on cell 1 and cell 2. Are they like 100% existing in my database? If that's the case, I can potentially match the content of that header to a header that I currently have in my database. So that's the plan. The main goal is to say add a 1 cell 1, add a 1 cell 2 seems to be matching with content in my database with that. Based on that, I then say add a 2 cell 1 edit 2 cell 2, okay, I don't know yet, edit 2 cell 3, I get the information. Have a good rest of your day, and thanks a lot for stopping by. I appreciate it, as always. Take care of yourself. We'll see you soon. And so I'm doing that checks until I'm getting something that is like, let's say I'm having name and brand, which are usually what happens. And so if I have a perfume in the user CSV that I currently have in the database, I'm then going to use that row entirely instead of going column by column. So the idea is to go through the column by column for the first three, which gives me like a confidence check of more than 80% usually. And then I can take one of the row and say, oh yeah, this can now rematch with the thing that I already have in my database. And I know that the notes are going to be this thing. I know that the perfumer is going to be this thing based on the data that I have, and so on. So that is done, but based on the time it took on the preview that we just did, I feel like this is going to be, or this is currently doing the entire fucking column every time, and I'm going to need to fix that. So yeah. So the perceived affordance is a weird thing to say, but yes, it is like it is something that makes you now, even before, but still more now, a UI UX designer for sure. No question about that. Yeah, I do that all the time. Let me show you. Let me show you what I'm talking about. And I do that all the time because I like it. Also, thank you for the hype train, which just died. Appreciate it. Not going through. So, my main table, which is on this one specifically, is going to be the best example, where we have like a table right there that reacts and adapts based on the content that we need to have. Sometimes we have things that are overlapping on one side. Sometimes we have scroll position. Sometimes we have like cells that needs to be bigger than others. And all of this is a system that just makes sense to me. And apparently, and it's really, really simple. It's really, really easy. It makes a lot of sense to go through things really quickly, and you end up with flexible-ish. Right now, all of these are pretty much the same, but you end up with the ability to get like a different type of table when needed in any situation in no time. The way that this works is, let me go into the fucking component. Where you at? I might not. Yeah, this one has been weird. Probably gonna be better if I'm just there on this. The table inputs are very simple. When you want to create them, you have two options. You either create what we call a vertical table. So you have a column-based example. This is for when you want to create a table that needs to have more entries horizontally. Otherwise, you create a row-based table when you want to quickly have more entries in your tables. These are the two options. The column-based thing gives you the ability to just create a table in no time and say, well, this thing is supposed to be like smaller or bigger or whatever it needs to be. Like right now, I have a bit of an issue on this. And this whole thing apparently is just not an layout anymore, which makes absolutely no sense. Let me just go back to this, bring back to layout because goddamn. But yeah, like you have like a responsive-ish table for most of these things based on their content, based on what they need to have, and you end up with a column base that will just precise to what needs to happen. So that just helps you because you know that the only thing that you need to do is okay, so we in that data, in that thing that we currently have, we need another entry. We need another data point at the end. And for the presentation inside of Figma, you just need like 5, 6, 16 entry points in the table in order to fit the space in which it is. Most of the time, you're gonna need like double this, but that's about it to showcase the information. If you needed to do something that you know for a fact is going to need to be like stacked further, you create your row component right about here, and then you will have your table in its entirety and just say, oh, we need a new entry. You duplicate it, you just add the entry, you change the data, you're good. You need a new entry. Oh, you need a new entry. Did you say you needed a new entry in that table? That is so easy, and you have your entire table done in same thing, no time. With the right content, with the right padding, with the right presentation for each and every single thing in there, without having to really think about it much. That's the two options. So building um, building a row based and building a column based are your two main systems. The row based gives you the ability to potentially get like or add another column quickly, but that usually breaks everything because you are using the header row as your starting point most of the time. And so what that means is once you add like a new thing, you end up with an header row here with a header column as well. So that's a bit of a mess. That's why if you don't know exactly what you need, column base is easier because you can just, add the column, like one entry to that column specifically, and then it will just propagate, but it will be the same thing. You will have the same issue with this is going to be like duplicated here with like my checkbox, my profile picture, main and sub, and it's going to be here as well, and there, and there, and there. So depending on the amount of column you have, that might become a bit more harder to do. That is how you create the thing in order to get like a table that works. In order to make these things, you just have this. You have a cell component and a header component, and you have all the types. If I go back to this one, if I have it, I do have it. It's just not here. Yes, that is true. 1 second. I know where it is. I forgot where it is. And Figma is just slow. So can bitch Figma, are you good? Holy hell. What do you mean? 1 second. Dude, hi, welcome. Good question. I'm gonna go through that in 1 second. I just need to find this. Did I put that in other files or did I put that in here? I put that in all, didn't I? I did. My bad. My bad. Slow. So specifically for the table component, what I have is this thing, if it loads. And it's a bit massive, so don't get scared. Or get scared, I don't care. But it is useful and good in the output and the thing that you want. So I have my table cell component in my table had a cell component with all of the options. Um, and that overall things um, is really useful because you have like your hover states and your click states and your interactions that are done through uh, the sub interaction thing. That's just me doing stuff. Don't worry about it. But all of the cells are here. And so what I have here is everything that I can think of. Like, I know we would have times where you have like an attachment. You would have something here that is a profile picture or an icon or something else. You will have stuff that are related to like toggles or vendors or profiles and people and files and attachment with different things and so on. So all of these are sub-level cells, and the goal on here is also to have my hover state and my click states and so on each of these cells by default in my main component, so that when I'm using said component inside of a table, if I just launch this, it will have the interactivity that I need it to have by default without me having to do anything. Like all of these cells have their hover state, their click states, their whatever states needs to happen to make sure that it goes faster. So that's the way that I build tables, and it's easier for you to just go through the system of building one time one thing and then ensuring that it's either made in row view or in column view. And if you want to do that faster without having to do that yourself, which is a very good thing, obviously, it's in there. If you want to buy the thing or if you want to use the free version, I think it's in the free version. Otherwise, you can use the table maker, which is a very good plugin. I think it's table maker. I forgot which one it is. The pink one. Yeah, the table creator things is the one that I use most of the time, or used most of the time, which basically gives you exactly what I just did or said with the creation of a table, with the components, with the content based on the grid that you want to have, and it's just one click done. I do like that. So basically what you are describing without really describing it, you are ensuring, and then I need to answer these questions. You are describing reframes, which is what you made, bitch. You're not there. Not reframe, reshaped. Reshape is a library. Also, Chris, welcome on in. I did that. I said that in my head, but it didn't come through. Is a library that is really good and really useful because it is made in React and in Figma at the same time. So we do like what they have, but most of the thing that they are doing is slots. And I have a video on YouTube related to slots specifically. Basically, how it works is you have containers and components, which is the slot component that can be replaced by anything. So you create your entity for your slots, and then you use said slotted based entity and you replace its content when you need it. So something like this, for example, is a container for the action bar that just has a slot. And the only thing that you need to do if you want your action bar to work is replace said slot with the thing that you want in that action bar. In the in other things, like I remember these ones, which are like the breadcrumbs. You have your main components that are sometimes slotted, sometimes not, but like for the slotted ones, you have the ability to just change this thing. So you can change your slot here with a breadcrumb item right there. So that means that you would end up with the thing that is with the text, but that breadcrumb item can go in there with other things, with an icon, with an image, with the different fonts, because the slot is going to allow for whatever. So that's the thing. Uh, Let me read that. But yeah, that's the based on your description. That's basically it. So you said, how did you get started with design, and did you go to university for UX or similar? Yes and no. um, I I got started with design when I was
CHKN Tikka
4.
Masala just subscribed.
God damn it. Chicken, thanks a lot for the resub. Or just the sub, I don't know. Well, go on in, thanks a lot for the sub, I appreciate it. Why though? Um, so yeah, no, I started when I was kind of 4 years old without my consent. My dad put me in front of a computer that had like a design related, illustration related game. My sister as well. And then he kind of saw me and my sister draw on the computer and do some different things. And when I turned, I forgot, 8 or 10. Yeah, maybe I was 8 and my sister was 10. I forgot. It's been a long time. And he said, or he asked, are you more into creating things or are you more into watching things? To my sister and me, and my sister said, I like to listen to stuff, and I said I like to create stuff. I don't know why I said that, but I said that. And so he gave my sister a Mac, which was mostly good for burning CDs, listening to music, and so on. And for me, he gave me one that was more powerful in the graphical department. What he used to do was buy old ass Macs on eBay and then just fixing them that it worked. And so we had these for very cheap. So that's really nice. But it basically like put me in front of a computer and said, in that computer there is legally acquired Photoshop and legally acquired other software, plus the software that are like the Mac OS base softwares. And we started to do stuff. I started to get interested into learning Photoshop, learning Illustrator, learning other Adobe products legally, obviously. And so that is when I started, technically speaking. I then went to university for mechanical engineering, where there was something that was related to mechanical drawing. So specifically like the creation of the drawings to, help create metal pieces and mechanical pieces. So that's the thing. And from there, once I had my degree in mechanical engineering, I moved into graphic design for the print industry. So with my engineering background, I knew how to fix the press and the prints, or the printers, the big ass ones. And so I went into graphic design with that kind of technical, mechanical background to potentially help be doing graphical stuff plus repairing and maintenance and so on. In that school, which is one of the renowned school of France, which sadly French, I taught things to my teachers because I had more experience in the softwares than they had. So I didn't finish that school. And I went to another one where the teacher recognized that I was good enough to teach the classes when he wasn't there. So I did that as well. And then I got my degrees, which don't mean anything, but like they're there. And then I worked in design, as in UI and UX design, since 2013, I would say 2012, 2013. Um, and yeah, and since then I just been there. So technically speaking, I started when I was like 4, 6, and I worked for money since 2013. So it's been 12 years of money making and 8 years of not money making, but doing the exact same thing in graphic design. But yeah. Also, chicken, yes, 100%. Aim to head is just titties and ass. Like I mean, not even titties. It's just ass, and I'm not sad about it. Obviously, I'm not gonna complain. But any aim to head mix is just, eh, it's just ass. They they just they just like it like that. That's it. Which is sad. I mean, it's not sad, but it's sad. Like you know, I wish they didn't. Anyways, Kate, no, I haven't entered the Makeathon thing. I haven't done that. I've not done that. Also, Stony, congrats, good job. Um, you click on that link if it works, if it loads. Yeah, we have another person that just fully 360'd into design at the old age of older than me. So, yeah, don't worry about it. You can 100% transition from whatever you're doing right now to being a designer in a year and a half or 3 months if you are really dedicated. The the how to get into is really simple, just practice. And then the how to get into a job is more complex. But how to get into it is pretty simple. I can go through that in a second once we reviewed what Chicken has said. Um, and you said you updated the mobile version, which apparently doesn't load. I need the mobile version to be loaded. So, interesting. Interesting. This is a weird behavior, but I get it. It works based on what we talked about last time, right? It just ensure that we have the information that we need to have, and so on. Two things here. Um, the speed of display of text is too slow. Just a smidge too slow. The the attention span, specifically of me, right now, is extremely low right now. So by the time I see the third one go that slow, I'm probably going to try to scroll down and access something else rather than stay there. So yeah, um, you just want something that is holy shit, that is wild in terms of interactions, right? That's your goal. You want that. I like the transition between pages. I feel like this is pretty cool. Um, these are interesting. The header is also probably because of how that page behaves. Don't worry about it. It's fine. as I said last time, I would probably get like better output if I was looking at it on my phone rather than looking at it on anything else. So yeah. These are clickable? Interesting. Yeah. I mean, again, I do think that you have like an interesting concept. I don't know how this would transfer into something that makes sense, you know, in terms of usability. Let me use that on my phone to see how it looks. Um, I should have done that. That's bad. I mean, no, that's the only thing that I can do. Yeah, no, that's the only thing. Um, so the swipe gesture is working better, obviously, when I'm swiping for real. So that's good to have, but that's way too slow. Again, let's go into the design section just so I can see things. I'm guessing this is going to be a drag to select, right? You drag and position to get into uh, where you want to go in that section, which is debatable, but that's okay. And in the web section, these feel better. I would love for them to be clickable, but that's not the case. But maybe you haven't worked on that, and I'm just working or looking at thing that makes no sense, which is fine. But yeah, no, overall it works. It's just like speed is potentially something that will be an issue in some cases for rendering the text, but also making sure that things are readable. Like, obviously, right now on stream, it looks like shit. Don't worry about it. That's not exactly how it looks. Um, this thing is way too gamma E. There is contrast pressure that don't pass. This is mostly what we have, so that's good. But yeah, no, that's an interesting thing. I pessimistic point of view. That's me. Welcome on in. So, in terms of what you have in these swipe right, swipe left, um, it feels weird because you have enough space to display the 4 buttons at the bottom of the screen, like a tab bar would. And right now you are forcing me to have a swipe interaction to see 2 things, and a swipe interaction and the second swipe interaction to see 2 other things at the bottom specifically. So I think I said that last time as well. This feels like a fun thing. No debating that. But it feels like a, a bad concept car where you have put something in the way of usability. And so even though here, like the contrast ratio and things is just not working and just looking at the bottom section, you could have these 4 buttons on the whole thing, like my buttons from Chrome at the bottom. I think that's the thing that could be there, just above there. Um, but yeah, like I would say that's the thing. The rest is okay, and I don't know if you want me to take a look at the rest. Um, like I mean, probably. Um, well, the thing is, you don't have much more on the homepage. Going back to what we said last month, uh, this didn't really change. You made some changes, I think, in the placement, but that's about it. And then the design section, I would need to see way more, and it's the same thing. Um, Basically, the concept is good. like the idea of drag to select, obviously, I like it. Like there is nothing that I could say against it because I do say that as well. It makes sense to me. I'm doing weird ass navigation for a reason, but I'm still using weird ass navigation with a pattern of we know what it is. So if I like, oh god damn, that is not what I wanted to do. Gap leap. There. All right. If I were to just bring that back here so that we have previews and stuff. That is interesting of a concept, but it's the same idea as I said earlier on this one. It's just too out of comfort zone to make any sense. Like this is widely weird. And so if I go into one of my weird ass project that has a weird navigation system, like this one, this thing has a drag navigation where it's going to select, it's supposed to select the one that you put in front of the dot and then do the navigation. So from here, if I click, it's just going to go to said navigation and so on. And so that kind of makes sense. And this one is opening like a view and, you know, so it's opening a view as well. So on. So far, easy. This is a weird navigation, but it still keeps that bottom tab bar navigation system that people kind of know about. They wouldn't necessarily know that it moves when they launch the app for the first time because they just, you know, you see this and you're like, oh cool, it's a curved tab bar. That's why not? And then they click on this thing and it moves. And they're like, oh cool. That's different. That's new. That's something that I didn't anticipate at all. It moved. I don't know why, but it moved. Same thing for Can, obviously. I have the same concept, right? You're here and you're like, you want to go from there to here. If you tap on it, it's just going to flex it. So I have a curved tab bar here as well. And that kind of concept is still a bottom tab bar with something that is interesting, but not necessarily like a full redesign of the navigation concept. So for you right now, this new navigation concept, this is pretty interesting. I feel like a drag to select is fun. But the way that it works right now, it doesn't, is kind of weird. And I don't know, again, because we don't see much. I don't know what I'm expecting to happen after that. If we go back to the SEO section, the drag here is the same issue. I'm pulling you as the user out of your natural environment where you know how to navigate a website. But right here, I'm forcing you as the user to not navigate as you are used to. I am forcing you to say, oh, I need to do some swipe in the opposite direction to pull the data that I need to see. And again, it's split into third, with this one being a tad bit longer, not too much, but a tad bit. And so you have 2 and 2, and the amount of space you have here is smaller, a tad smaller than this and this combined. So you would have enough space for 4 tabs with no issues, and it would be good. And I feel like that would be better. Again, going back to what we said last month, I do recognize that this was your initial idea of swipe to navigate, which was pretty cool, but it breaks so much ingrained navigation system that the people have in their head that I wouldn't recommend it much, too much. um, Also, yes, on mine and on this one as well. Yes, 100%. If we go into this, which is the new app, and right now I have something in the view, but it's basically the same thing that you have currently in um, web, right? You have web and you have the cards and you can navigate your cards and so on. What I have here is basically the same thing. I have my cards technically when I start, and I'm going to do that right now. Um, Woodware again is probably like a 4 things. And so now this is broken, that I'm working on it. Now I have my recommendation, which is basically the same thing that you have here. So I have my 2 cards, which is just 2 for me, and I can swipe through the cards for the thing that I can wear for the day, for the perfume that I have, right? This is the same concept that you have here. I would say that behavior, again, this one, is something that people understand. Cards, they do understand. You may want to have something that hit a bit more at the angle in which the thing is going to go, but that's not necessary. If I do that for a split second, that's gonna potentially help. I don't think so. But in light mode, you have a bit of a better separation between the first card and the second card because of the shadow itself. In dark mode, it doesn't go through as much. Like you can't really see that much of a difference. But you have that potential idea of both cards are moving at the same time, and like it could help compared to what you have here. Even though they kind of do, you have the same angle and so on. There's something that is just kind of weird in terms of how things behave. So could change that. Though I'm gonna go back to kind of what I said last time. Um, Good. To me, the like uh, I I said that the thing that I would like to see as a website for an agency that will work on design for myself, which is the goal of this website, at least from what I understand. I want to know what you do, what you are, who you are, and what I can see from the whole page. I do not want to have to click on things, either here, which is kind of interesting for first of all, or having to go into the menu to see stuff. So I obviously biased on this one, but this is my website. You arrive here, let me go back there. You have my tagline, which is that's the name of your company, so it's basically here. But from right there, you have multiple options. You can say, oh, I like what they've done for No Mercy. I like what they've done for Mom. I like what they've done for something else that I can see what has been the production of that company in the past. If that's the case, I can directly say, let's chat. Just let's go, have a chat, do something, which is exactly what you have right here. You have your info to basically contact you, which is an option. That's good. Under that, I have some street creds, obviously, how things work, what we've done, past experiences, and then if you need some details on what I've done, you can click on like case studies and see some more stuff, the thing that we showcased for the table earlier. That is much more of a traditional website, which makes sense, right? You have like the whole thing and it works. But I have everything in one view. I don't have anything else for that website in any other page. These things are just going to send you to where you want to go on said page. So you could have weird navigation on the same page as long as this one contains everything you need on the scroll. Again, because the goal is to get client, I guess. So you want them to know exactly what you do, what you have, and so on. If I go into brain, no, yes, that's the wrong. That is the wrong website. Um, if we go into WeGrow, which right now is just like the initial thing, WeGrow is a different design agency platform. If you go into services, it's going to send you to the services, which is kind of wild that they don't have them in the same order that pages define, but that's fine. This is a tad different where you see what they do. You have some street creds, you have something that moves, so you will go further down to see what happens. That tells you nothing. That, like, this is in the client point of view, this is kind of shit. It's just fun. So I'm like gonna scroll because, that's the thing. But then I'm seeing this, which is exactly what I needed, right? I wanted to know um, what they had. Oh. And what they have done so that I can have like a bit of an idea of their creations. I have some more street creds, some how it works, some how it works, somehow it works or how it worked, what happened. But they are showing me like so much things regarding the past work, the how it works, the prices, and so on. But all of that, again, is in one single scroll. And I can have access to any specific section by just, navigating through these things. It is way too much for me. But it's a very interesting thing as well. Going back to where we were, this one is that's it. Like this page doesn't have anything. I don't see anything more than this, and that's the main issue for me. And you could have, as I said, you could have your cards underneath the first section. You could have your design section with the drag to select underneath that card section. You could go through all of your interesting, quirky navigation thing as exploration and potential creations. But if they are like pages, you need to follow regular navigation systems because users kind of need to understand what they can do and how they can do things on any platforms. If I go into this website, that's it. You don't have much more. Diddy, hi, welcome back. How are you? So from here, there is not much. There is some links. I mean, Kane's portfolio doesn't work now, but it happens. Um, but like that is a weird pattern. Most people would not understand that you can click on these unless they hover over these things and they figure out that there is like a link that is appearing, but that's about it, right? Nothing more than that. So, but it's a very simple website with nothing on it, and it works. It's been coming soon since 3 years ago, I think, and I need to make an update to it. Otherwise, my hosting provider is going to delete the. Good. No, we back. I mean, we are supposed to be back-ish. It worked. I saw the things. I don't. It again. It's 6:40. It's where we have when we have a break. So it happens. We there. We there. Knox, hi. Walk on in. So yeah, chicken. That's. I would say that's about it. On most of the things, it's just it brings so much weird navigation system, specifically on mobile, that I don't think it would be a good idea. You can keep the weird navigation systems where you have them, but you kind of want to follow the base principles of websites as far as right now, to make sure that things make sense and that things work for what you're trying to achieve with that website specifically. So like in full screen, for example, you have like a very simple navigation, and it's a, you know, it's a one scroll activity where you see everything. It has like a lot of quickness, and you know, all the thing that we talked about before. That's interesting. That's pretty good. It gives information in a way that makes sense, even though there is like some space that needs to be changed, but we talked about it as well. That was like 3 months ago, not last month. And you know, it's it could work. It's just a could and not a will. So yeah, that's where we are, I think. I think. Unless you have something else. Um, is that the one I was looking for? That was the one that I was looking for, and I was dumbass about it. Um, uh, goddamn. Goddamn. Also, that one was crazy. If you haven't seen that thing, goddamn. So yeah, it you need some sort of a regular processing for websites, because otherwise you end up with things that are kind of weird. Um, but yeah, that's interesting. That's a new website. Napa, did you get into payment method? God damn it. Yes. um, do we have? No, we don't. God damn it. I'm looking for interactive, which I think interactive is going to be probably the type that are similar, um, from what we have, you know, but I don't think enough of them. I know that this one is kind of interactive, kinda, not really. Um, but yeah, it has stuff for like these to move and to interact with the cursor navigations and so on. Some of them should have been like more or less animated, but it is a 3D based thing. Again, the base concept, it's still a fucking website. Therefore, the content is in a single navigation thing. There is a very cute slight animation on the header, where each of the pages are gonna be activated, deactivated, and so on when you're scrolling through. So that's kind of fun thing. But yeah. So for this one, I'm using Spline for the output here. And if you zoom out enough, you'd know. Right there. But yeah, this is Spline. So Spline is using Three.js in the background to render things, and yeah, it's pretty simple. It's pretty. I mean, this one specifically is pretty easy. And if you want something that is similar, not 3D, Hana, which is their new version, is really good as well. Like, I would highly recommend you to go through um, their new rendering. So they have like 3D rendering for this, but they also have Hana, and Hana is basically the same thing but for flat. And you have like a lot of interactivity potential with flat design throughout everything. Uh, and yeah, we like it. Like all of that is based on the initial system, initial ID, initial containers and stuff, and it's just, it makes sense. It's just good. So that's the main concept. That's the thing that I do every time, and that's the thing that I did for the skulls. It's, you have them in flat, you have them in 3D, and so on. Like, it's very, very simple. So yeah. Um, yeah, I I love Spline and I hate Rive, but I love Rive at the same time. Um, um, in my, you're saying in my portfolio you have images of the web pages that are large. This? Or this? I mean, technically it's the same thing. If that's the website that you're talking about. Um, None of them have rotation in 3D. They just zoom in and that's it. Um, there's no 3D on this one. The other one, here, is they rotate through what I'm scoring through, but that's about it. There's no, like, the only 3D thing is here. So yeah, if you needed like a 3D rendering thing, it doesn't really, you know, doesn't really change anything. Basically, everything that I'm building, this website, the other ones, they are all made with Framer. So any component, any elements that you want to have, let's say you needed something that is um, like moving with a 3D environment, you can have stuff like this through 3D rendering through here. And that's a very easy thing to do with Framer because, you know, it's what they do. So, oh, you meant Mendang? That's what you meant for inspiration? I guess. If that's the case, that's Lapa. I don't think gyro would work. The thing is, on my website, the scrolls are looking at where your cursor point, like where your finger is, if you play with it. But you need to be like exactly on the spot to be able to play with it. So technically yes, but also kind of no. I would say the only potential, even though I don't like it, but potential is going to be Dora. Dora is one of these website builder that is meant to add some 3D to the environment. So it's a website builder with 3D and now with their AI generation thing that can potentially work. But it's also not necessarily like gyroscope based content, and I don't know enough to give you like a definitive answer on would it work for gyroscope, but maybe. And if that's the case, then check it out. But yeah, um, that's uh, that's about it. Yeah, no, Rive is really good. It's really good and really cool, but it's just so much of something that I I I'm gonna go back there and I'm gonna show you exactly what I'm talking about again because I feel like I'm doing that often. Um, it changed, right? They have changed, and it's good that they have changed because it's not what they used to say in the beginning. Basically, when they started existing, they said that Rive was a motion design app or motion design website or app in the browser. And since then, they have kind of changed, right? But the initial thing was the Rive editor, that is basically a design tool that creates production ready graphics. And so when you see this as a designer, you are thinking about a very specific type of tools that you have seen in the past, that you have experience with, that you could use and could benefit from by using. And so when you get started and you end up on this app, nothing in here makes any sense compared to regular design app, other than the fact that the layers are here and some of the inspector is there. But then there is this whole thing at the bottom that makes no sense, that is not really explained. There is this whole thing at the top that contains stuff like rigging that we don't know what that is and how it works. And unless you go through the entirety of their tutorials, which is a good thing because they are pretty good, you will never understand on your own what that does. And so my gripe with Rive in the first place is the fact that they have said and basically marketed themselves as um, a design tool and a motion design tool. And when I arrive here, nothing looks like a motion design tool and a design tool. So the example that I gave is that if you go from Sketch to Figma, 80 to 90% of the app looks the same. If you go from Figma to Adobe XD, 95% of the app looks the same. If you go from Photoshop to Adobe XD, 99% of the app looks the same because it's the same fucking company. And so you are expecting something that is related to how design tools work and how motion design tools work. And when you arrive here, you don't have that. You have something that is closer to a game engine with the state machine. And if you don't know what that is, you have a very hard time. And the state machine is really powerful. It's really good. It's similar to Unity. It's similar to the one that you have in Unreal Engine as well. I mean, it's a fucking state machine. So it works like a state machine. It's fine. But it's just if you don't have the brain and the mental model that goes with that, yeah.
O_Ponce raided my stream with 9 viewers.
Welcome on in. Thanks a lot for the raid. I appreciate it. I hope the stream was good and so on. As always, for those of you who don't know me, hi, I'm AOA. I'm the helping designers. If you have any design questions, feel free to ask as always. Yeah, it's Friday. We are doing a review day. I hope your stream was good. Okay. Welcome on in. If you did raid and run, as always, you know, do that. But if you want to raid and stay, same thing. Japan, JPN. I guess Japan. And I mean, yeah, Japan, slay pen. All time reading on. Welcome on in. I've seen you on Hillfoot Street, I think. Did I? Maybe I did. Have a good look. So yeah, that's the main issue that I have with Rive. It's just like they have marketed themselves in the first place as a motion graphics tool, and in motion graphics you have Fable, which is dead apparently. What happened? What the fuck? Apparently they're dead. So let's not go into Fable. Let's go into. I was about to say Vivaldi. No. I forgot the name. There is a fucking app that does motion graphics on the web. But yeah, 3 yabs. Have a good look. Thanks a lot for them. Thanks a lot for the raid as well. Appreciate it. I mean, coming with the raid. Let me just Fable.act. Pull it. Are they dead? Oh yeah. Oh shit, they're dead for a long time. Anyways, that thing was good. It was pretty good. It gave you like a lot of options, and it gave you basically my animated modes here. So, you know, it's a thing. But you are expecting a timeline, and it was a timeline. And it was good. So that's the main point I wanted to make on this one. June, if you are still lurking, I can answer your question now. So again, with that, I think the Rive is really good. I think Rive is going to be really useful to some extent for some designers, but overall in the regular designer toolkit, code is going to be a bit better, and AI assisted design is going to be a bit better for some situations. So yeah, Hannah is really good because yeah, Hannah is really flat. So again, it's really simple. I think that's the one that I. Not that. That's not the one. Is that the thing? Everyone is shutting down. That's crazy. That was the thing. God damn. Sorry. that that is broken, but like widely broken. The entire fucking OBS restarted almost on its own. It's crazy. Anyways, I'm still here. And maybe that is gonna die or something. I don't know, but that's working. That's working. Cool. So if you're here and you have your things in HANA and you're saying, well, I want this to get like a rectangle, and said rectangle, let's, you know what, let me just add the event or the state or the whatever. The event is pretty good, and it's nice. On start, you have a transition, but said transition, the thing that you want is not necessarily a transition. You want something that is a bit different, or a state or whatever. And so the follow or look at is what we want to do most of the time. So you just put that look out with the cursor, with the dampening of like, I don't know, 100, so that it's kind of smooth and so on. And the speed of 5 is pretty, it's pretty fine. And so now that I have this, I can just duplicate it and, you know, just have fun with it. Maybe probably more. Jitter is another one that I forgot about. Nope. God damn, that's crazy. And so from here, I have my frame, I have my thing. As soon as I say start,
Jeroen
that's
van Wissen just resubscribed for 17 months. Boom Jeroen 7 wiggle.
That's the thing, and I have the follow, and that's fine. That works. Jeroen, hi, welcome in. Welcome back. Thanks a lot for the resub. I appreciate it. How's everything? That dampening is a bit too much, though. I kind of can't edit the look at of all at once, but yeah. How are you? Everything is good? New work is good? I can all at once. So you know, like that's a thing, and it's just, it took me 5 seconds to have a look at thing, and now that thing specifically can be shared and imported as like a very simple embed link thing. And yeah, we do like that as a very simple stuff. So yeah. Today was the last day of 2 weeks of holidays. God dang. That happens. That happens. You missed so much. You missed so much. God dang. But yeah, so HANA is really good. For me, at least, I like it. It does a lot of things. Overall, Spline is the same level of simplicity, kinda. Not exactly, but kinda. And for example, this one is like an interactive phone where I can click on each of the fucking characters things, and if I start scrolling, the phone is gonna have like a transition. Like that's the plan. And yeah, it's, you know, it's a fun stuff. It works. That's Spline. It worked in no time. We like it. We like HANA. We like Spline. Everything is good. Cool. So yeah, let me click on that one unless it breaks my computer again. I see Jira templates. Interesting. Yeah. That's also a very interesting website. Not gonna lie. There's like a lot of things in there that are cool. This is really nice. Really simple, but really, really nice. Expensive though. God damn. God damn. Eh. What does the purchase now does? Nothing. Then you back there. Anyways. So yeah, that's the thing. June, I don't think I've seen you back in the chat, which is kind of sad. Yeah, I didn't. um, Anywho, so yeah, we have that whole thing. Um, I don't like them. I don't like Howard's. Um, I don't like. Also, I'm seeing something. YouTube is screaming at me right now for not receiving enough data, which is wild because it's receiving enough data. But yeah, anyways. Um, I learned that Owids was basically some sort of a pay to win situation. So if I pay them, they showcase my work and my website. Therefore, I don't trust anything they have on the website. Probably some of them in the beginning and still now are valid things where, they looked at website and the website looked interesting and they just said, you know what, yeah, let's promote that website because it's really cool. But then if you have the ability to do both, and some people are giving you money and you promote their stuff, and some people are not, the probability of you as a company promoting the paid things more makes a lot more sense. So, yeah, that happens. And since I learned that, I was like, you know what? Not as good. Good for inspiration, but at the end of the day, it's not necessarily good. So, yeah. Um, this one was interesting. I kind of wanted to talk about it for a split second, and then they, and then this one was also really interesting. I don't like it, but it's interesting. Just keeping things on the side, hoping that it works. That I have everything I need. I don't. Uh, and yeah, that's gonna do anything. So, um, this one was crazy. This is new on the latest version of iOS 26. If you have a case that is blue, for example, and you put your phone in a very specific way for the theme, you can see that the icons are moving back to the colors. And so, based on your case color, and that's something that basically, like, um, and that's the Apple stuff. It works. That's all I have to say. It will take the color of the case and adapt to it. And so it needs to go through uh, some things here and there to work, right? You need to be into that mode, which is customize. I need to be into clear or tinted. And in tinted, I now have case color or case color or different things. And right now I'm on a black case, so it makes no difference. But yeah, that's a very interesting system. I didn't think they had that, but it's a very cool thing. So if you are someone with, yeah, if you are someone that sounds weird. If you change your case often, I used to do that. I used to have a green case and a black case and a more tan case to match the outfit that I had when I was in Japan. Most of them are still in Japan because the old phone is still in Japan. And so that is basically how it kind of works. And you change the case and your phone will adapt so that you have like a an homogen ecosystem of things, which is pretty impressive. I think it's useless, but it's really fun. So that's the first thing that I wanted to kind of touch on. And the second thing is this. This is really interesting in terms of how the app is looking. Some of the design that they have made, the choice of design that they have made is really good. But then this thing of planning your day automatically based on what you want to do, on just you type exactly uh, like you plan your day, and the things right here saying outside jogging, work session until the meeting with John at 8, and then you cook meal and you go to the gym, and all of that is automatically adding content to your planning app. This is pretty impressive in terms of how they've done it. The thing is, I'm gonna go back there. Um, it's it is the most notification I have ever received for a single app. I wish I could open the fucking tray to show you, because I am receiving 20 notification a day for this app, and it's wild. It is wild. But it's connected to the Apple Health app. So you have like, or they have the energy rise and the life signs of yourself, so that you know kind of when you deep in energy, when you have most things. Right now, I'm in currently in energy dip, which is kind of bad, meaning that I should start streaming at 3 to have like the rise and then ending at 7, which is now. I know. But that whole thing is interesting. They have made like interesting choices in terms of design. This thing is the most interesting design choice, and then that is cool. But that's about it. That's about it. And in the beginning of the app, when I clicked in the middle, it just crashed. So now it's fixed. But yeah, small stuff. Uh, I don't know. Okay, so sorry, I didn't. I didn't check contra AI stuff. I know I should, but I didn't. Yeah, I need a pee though. 1 second. It's not dual stream. It's the thing you've recommended. uh, it's streaming on Mac. That's the issue. I should go back to stream from the PC. That is the potential, but it's just like not all the vitals are good, and that's the thing that pisses me off, is that everything is good and everything seems to be working. The CPU usage is really light, but it just crashes because, and that's kind of wild. But that's kind of the reason. Uh, the amount of space available on my disk and the amount of things that are using the space is greater than what it needs at some point. So the fact that I have like cursor and Xcode and other things working are touching specific files in the system that I'm usually not touching, and that's the reason. Uh, the crashes have happened since I started building apps. So yeah, and not since I've started multi-streaming, but since I started using Cursor and Xcode on a daily basis. Uh, Apparently, it just didn't like it. Didn't like it. Yeah. And so, Kane, for this thing, yes, it looks really cool. It looks really interesting and potential as well. Like there is a ton of thing that could happen and be really good out of this AI stuff for uh, Contra. The thing is, in order to get that, um, I need to have like the most complete profile and the most hireable profile so that the AI can understand what I do, but also propose me. So yeah. Um, yeah, but you're not on Mac, Stoney. That's the thing. That it works different. Also, the latest crash for streaming, yes. The latest crash have happened since I updated to the latest build. And my latest build is currently I have a new one to fix something, but I'm currently still on Sequoia like 1.7, and it should go one up. But at that instant, what I kind of need to do is move to Tahoe Dev, and yeah, that will break more stuff, but that will be for later. And yes, 100%, I do need that for like any job on Contra, but the thing is, like here, for example, I don't necessarily need uh, much. I mean, I do, but I don't need much. I can just like have stuff and change. Um, right now, I need to change my something. I forgot availability something, but yeah. Um, I need to change that. Where's the fucking swap? Also, that's their fucking thing. They are trying to make me get it. Uh, so, yeah, I don't like. I would need more stuff on the here. That's what I'm. That's basically what I'm saying. Like, I would need like way more stuff in the past work in order to make sure that at least the understanding of what I can do is greater than just like two. I mean, technically three branding projects and one software, one app. Not necessarily good enough. Um, but yeah, you can be an expert in Bolt. What the fuck? God damn. Sorry, that's bad. That is bad. Uh, go through again. See that right now, for the second time, it's as if someone pressed my Stream Deck. That's what happened. That is wild. Like, that is not supposed to happen. But it still did. Twice. So, that's weird. But at least I saw the thing happen, which made me react in enough time. God dang. Also, that means for sure, I mean, I'm almost certain of that, based on the fact that Stream Element Golf reset it every time. The streak on Twitch is probably resetted as well. I don't know what's happening. And that is only since the errors, only since I've been doing the, how is it called? Enhanced broadcasting things. So, yeah. Yeah, but it's wild though. Yeah. The thing is weird. If I'm currently live and I long press on the go live button, it goes back not live. That is supposed to end the stream, but because it wasn't done by me, um, I don't know. What I was about to say about indie whatever AI stuff is, it needs to go through like the social media, therefore the social media post needs to be related to your content and the thing that you're creating. Because if you're not, like if your social media is basically talking about Pokemon because that's your stuff, but you're art designer, it's not gonna work for that stuff. So that's the first thing. The second thing is it needs to have content in Contra so that you understand or it understand what you can do and how you can help other people. But yeah, I the the thing that I was about to say before it uh, crashed was it's it's kind of weird. It's probably gonna be something that costs credits, and if I start it now, right now, it's gonna cost the free credits that I have. And I would rather have or prepare like my profile and social media accounts before in order to get like the most out of the free credits rather than not do that. So um that's the thing. I know it's gonna be paid at some point. So if I just hold on, populate some stuff, and then use it, it might be useful. But yeah. Might be. I don't know. It's also apparently is linked to the crash, I mean, to some of the action that I do on Arc. So I don't know. It feels like something is bound to. It's weird. I don't get it. I don't get it. In the slightest. So yeah, that's the only reason why I'm like, I don't know if I want to use it now. and I would rather have like more content, more post. Because if you look at the profile, right, it will go through and then scan my profile thing. So if this is like posts that I don't care and that I don't want to have related to the the profile that is generating of me, like all of my going live tweets, for example, these are things that I need to remove because otherwise it's going to scan stuff for no fucking reason. And again, based on free credits, the fact that you go through a certain amount of tweets and posts based on the API and so on, the least amount of tweets that are unrelated, the better it's going to be. So that's the thing. At least for me, that's going to be the thing. It's going to need to be as um, as clean as possible before I can move on and potentially use it. If that makes any sense, you know. So like same thing here. Um, I don't think it goes through threads. As far as I remember, it's just Twitter. So, you know, just Twitter. But nonetheless, it needs to be cleaned. So, yeah. Um, yeah. It's like that's the thing, right? If it goes through your socials, you need your socials to be kind of work related or work ready to an extent so that it just does the job of scraping what it has to understand what needs to happen on your profile from your profile. And once that's done, it's good. As always, my goal is to have like one post about the stream so that the links exist. But most of the time, I just forget to delete them once I've posted them. And I wish I could automate that, but I can't because the APIs are fucking expensive. So that happens. And yeah, yeah, that's the thing. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I will try it though. That's for sure. I will at some point try to make sure that I, you know, get the options at least. But that's gonna take a while. It is gonna take a while. That's about it. That is about it. Um, I've seen like a lot of other things, but yeah. Also, earlier you asked, is something happened? Yes, I have a heart condition now. That's what happened. You asked that question a long time ago now, but yeah. Also, the stream is currently unstable, which is absolutely. I don't understand. I don't understand. Makes no sense. That makes no